Hey, it's Tim with the University of Vinyl. Thanks for tuning in again today. This is going to be a bit of a potpourri. I went to a pop up record show in Denver yesterday. It was actually held in a kind of one of these food hall, new age food hall establishments in the Rhino neighborhood of Denver, which happens to be where the new Vinyl Me Please pressing plant is, that I think is finally coming on stream. I picked up a few records, a couple upgrades. I might, run through a few of those records in the conversation today. But the main thrust of today's topic is you can see that my McIntosh MA 6100 integrated is currently not where it usually is. What I wanted to do that has been bugging me for a while in the back of my mind is, I really need to kind of bring back my beloved Harman Kardon 730 twin powered 730 receiver from circa the early 1980s. This is an amazing piece of gear, and I think it is just as sexy looking as the vintage McIntosh and the vintage Marantz receivers. Of course, the 2230 is something that is near and dear to my heart that I used to have, that I traded partially towards the McIntosh. And I picked up this Harman Kardon twin powered 730 receiver. When we say twin powered, well, what's the deal with that? Well, it actually has dual power supplies, and it has dual mono blocks, so hence twin power. And this thing is deceiving. It is rated at about 40 watts per channel. I put this thing into my system. I've got, of course, Klipsch Cornwalls that you probably know about if you've been watching my channel. I kind of pride myself in running vintage gear. And anyway, they say that you should at least power up things that you may or may not be using at least once a month. And I've had the Harman Kardon in my office, set up with a single CD player, a Rotel, that I've been rarely listening to. I also have some Boston Acoustic kind of bookshelf A70s in there, everything vintage. And I just have not been listening to that rig at all. I've been using headphones when I've been working on a computer and between phone calls. I just haven't had time to power that thing up at all. And I thought, well, wait a minute. Let's kind of throw this into the mix because I have two different turntables as well. And this thing definitely has inputs for two turntables. So I've been going back and forth, listening to a few of the records that I picked up yesterday. And I am just amazed at the sound of my current kind of setup as I have it. Even now with this Harman Kardon, it's like, whoa. You think in the back of your head, oh, McIntosh, vintage McIntosh, it can't be beat. But I tell you what, dollar for dollar, that is a bargain find if you can find one. And they're pretty easy to work on if you have a local tech, which I do, thankfully. So, no qualms at all with swapping out the McIntosh for the time being. I'm not going to get rid of the McIntosh. I'm going to give it a break for a month or so. I'm just going to run with this for a while. And, it's really fun because you can kind of rediscover your favorite records. And maybe you have, in the back of your mind, 5 records that you use to test your system. I've done videos on that before. I just did kind of some random pulls here this afternoon. And I also wanted to play a couple of things I picked up yesterday. So the first thing I got yesterday is, this is pretty cool. It is one of those promo 12-inch. It's not one of the the maxi singles. This has got 3 tracks on it, and this is from Ricky Lee Jones's Pirates album, which I think was the follow-up to her self-titled record. And if you don't know about Pirates, it is an amazing sounding record. And the thing that caught my eye here is this is of course, a QX2 pressing, which was that higher quality vinyl that came out in the early 1980s. And it sounds amazing. It's dead silent if you find a clean copy. We Belong Together. An amazing, this clocks in at just under 5 minutes, 4 minutes and 59 seconds. So it's a 12-inch single basically on side 1. Side 2, A Lucky Guy, Woody and Dutch on The Slow Train to Peking, which is another 5-minute song. That entire Pirates record is overlooked, and you can find copies for $3 or $4 or $5 out there in used bins. So anyway, I saw this, and sure enough, it sounds absolutely amazing. The musicians that Ricky Lee Jones assembled for this record and the previous record are just top notch. So props to Ricky Lee Jones. When I saw that 12-inch promo piece for Ricky Lee Jones's Pirates yesterday, it immediately reminded me of this. And this is one of my favorite pieces in my kind of Steely Dan collection. Of course, this is taken from the Nightfly, and we have New Frontier on side A, and then side B, we get The Goodbye Look. Now, I absolutely love this, and it sounds amazing. If you ever see this thing out in the wild, by all means pick it up. I think I found this for like $7 or $8 2 or 3 years ago. This is just simply amazing. Also a Warner Brothers promo piece. Of course, the record came out. The Nightfly came out on Warner Brothers. What can we say? What can we say about both of these songs? Well, I will tell you that this piece right here, these 2 songs, I have a QX2 version of the Nightfly. I have a Japanese version of the Nightfly. These 2 tracks on this 12-inch promo, absolutely mind-blowingly good. So there's the tip for today. Find this promo 12-inch if you can find it. I was happy to find this record yesterday because she's kind of in the news again and top of mind. I'm sure most of you maybe watched Tracy Chapman with Luke Combs on that duet of Fast Car on the Grammys a couple weeks ago. Crossroads, her second solo LP, don't sleep on this. This is a great record, much easier to find than that debut. I saw 2 copies of that at this little pop-up shop. There was about 10 record dealers yesterday at this little mini show. Their main, this is the Rocky Mountain Record Show, the guys who put that on. Their main show is the first week in April. Really looking forward to that. Always a great show, and it's also held in the Rhino neighborhood in Denver. Vinyl Me Please are actually one of the sponsors, as is Topo Chico. They were handing out free Topo Chico sparkling waters yesterday. Anyway, this is really cool because due to the success of the debut, by the way, she was absolutely amazing on the Grammys. And when I saw this yesterday, I kind of snapped it up. I picked this up for $30, which happens to be right around median on Discogs. It's a near mint example. This is a DMM cut, master disc, Bob Ludwig. Beautiful, beautiful sounding record. And, you know, there are no huge standout tracks, but everything is so well done here. And she's got Larry Klein on bass. I love Larry Klein. Larry Klein, famously ex-husband of Joni Mitchell, who also was incredible on the Grammys. But yeah, don't sleep on this. This can be found, like I said, much easier. In addition to Larry Klein, you've got G.E. Smith on a couple of these tracks on lead guitar with that Telecaster sound that I love from G.E. Smith. Neil Young is on acoustic guitar. Mark Cohn plays piano on one of these songs. There is Russ Kunkel playing drums on 2 or 3 tracks. A really, really soulful record, chock full of love songs, topical songs of the time, and things that you would expect from Tracy Chapman if you know the debut album. More of the same. I think just as good as that debut, and it sounds great. So this next record, I've been holding out on buying one because I wanted to get a UK pressing. I just figured, this thing is going to sound great if you can get the UK wax in an original pressing. I'm talking about the Slider TRex. This is an amazing record. And, I was looking at the credits. The photography credit goes to Ringo Starr for this, so pretty cool. Mark Bolan looking resplendent there. This thing is incredible. It's a German pressing, first press, near mint condition. Super excited to find this. I've only listened to side one. The stereo imaging on this record is absolutely amazing. There's a lot of stuff going on between the right and the left channel. Especially on the title track, which is in the middle of side one, the Slider. TRex, the Slider. Very, very happy. I don't need a UK pressing after hearing this thing. And again, I've only listened to side one, so looking forward to continuing some listening later today when I get done with the video. Okay, last but not least, I have been on a bit of a Pretzel Logic jag here lately. I pulled out my original pressing on the ABC Black label a couple weeks ago, and I had forgotten that there was a bump in the middle of Ricky Don't Lose That Number, which on the Thorns caused it to kind of skip. And then I put it on my Sansui direct drive over here, and it wasn't as bad, but I immediately thought to myself, shit, I need to find a new pressing of Pretzel Logic, and I found one yesterday. Again, it's an early ABC Santa Maria first pressing. The sleeve is in pristine shape. Of course, this is a gatefold. There is that amazing black ABC label. These are the ones that you want on the early records. This is the record where they eventually, in the represses or second pressings of this record, they moved to that kind of orange and red and yellowish. We call it the concentric circle label. And God, this just sounds so good. And after kind of witnessing or reading about and watching the kind of, should we call it a debacle? The Pretzel Logic UHQR was widely panned, and that is shocking because most of these UHQRs that come out these days are top incredible sounding pressings. But go ahead and Google Pretzel Logic UHQR reviews, and you will see what I'm talking about. So I held off on buying that. And in my mind, the pressing to have right now is this, the early black label ABC Pretzel Logic. Um, you know, in the time period that I decided to pull out Pretzel Logic again, of course, Rick Beato comes out with a great interview with Michael Omartian, who played piano on Ricky Don't Lose That Number. And he has some great stories of being in the studio with Steely Dan. Of course, he went on to do tons of stuff. He produced the first Christopher Cross record, which is an amazing recording as well. Anyway, that's it for today. I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit more about, it's cool to have, different pieces in your collection of gear that you may have, and you shouldn't let something just kind of sit on the shelf for months and months and months and forget about it, because if you do that, you're going to run into problems. You're going to have to send that thing out to your gear guy because things go wrong, things go bad. You should fire those things up monthly. It's like a vintage car. It shouldn't sit in the garage for months on end. It needs to be fired up and at least driven around the block, right? So similar concept with vintage gear. Anyway, another high recommendation that if you are looking for a new vintage piece in your collection, or you're looking for a receiver and you don't want to buy some stupid black box piece of junk that will be obsolete in 3 years, look for the Harman Kardon line of those twin-powered receivers. There was a 430, a 630, and the 730. And then also, no, they had a 930 too. So my highest recommendation for Harman Kardon vintage receivers. That's it for today. I will be back pretty soon with something new and different. Take care, everybody.